Have you ever wondered if your thoughts were actually shaping the world around you? If the universe wasn't something happening to you, but something happening because of you? Science calls it the observer effect, the idea that simply looking at something changes what you see. But here's the shocking part. This doesn't just apply to atoms and particles. It applies to you. Every emotion you feel, every thought you repeat, every belief you hold. It's not just in your head, it's bending the field of reality itself. When you're angry, your world reacts with chaos. When you're peaceful, your world reorganizes around calm. You think you're watching life unfold, but in truth, life is watching you back, responding to the frequency of your consciousness. Because the mind isn't a spectator, it's a projector. So the question isn't, what's real? The question is, what are you making real by the way you think? The hidden power of observation. In the strange world of quantum physics, reality behaves in ways that challenge everything we think we know. At the smallest level of existence inside atoms and particles, things don't exist in one fixed place or form. They exist as possibilities, floating in a state scientists call superposition. A particle can be here and there, moving and still, all at once, but something mysterious happens when it's observed. The moment consciousness looks at it, all those endless possibilities collapse into one. That single act of observation decides what becomes real. This means that reality is not fully formed until awareness interacts with it. The universe, in a way, waits for consciousness to make its move. Observation isn't a passive act, it's creative. When you observe something, you are not just seeing it, you are giving it boundaries, form, and meaning. You're choosing which version of reality to bring into focus. This is the hidden power of observation, the subtle force through which the mind participates in shaping the universe itself. Now think about how this applies to your everyday life. When you constantly focus on pain, on what's missing, or on what went wrong, you are unconsciously collapsing your reality into that painful version of existence. You make that reality more solid, more dominant in your life experience. The more attention you give to something, the more it takes root in your consciousness and manifests in your world. It's not just about thinking positively, it's about understanding that your awareness is like a spotlight, and whatever you shine it on becomes brighter, stronger, and more influential in shaping your emotional and physical world. On the other hand, when you choose to focus on possibilities, gratitude, or growth, you are choosing a higher vibration of reality. You're giving energy to outcomes that are more aligned with peace, creativity, and abundance. Every thought becomes an observation, and every observation becomes a seed planted in the soil of reality. The difference between living in despair and living in empowerment often comes down to where you direct your mind's focus. The observer is not separate from reality. The observer creates it through attention and interpretation. This means your thoughts are not just private experiences floating inside your head, they are part of the fabric of creation itself. When you observe with clarity, love, and faith, reality responds in kind. When you observe with fear, judgment, or negativity, reality mirrors that energy back to you. In every moment, you are both a witness and a creator, constantly shaping your life through the lens of your awareness. So, the next time you feel trapped by your circumstances, remember this: your observation is not powerless. It is the hidden switch that determines what reality takes shape before you. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will begin to change. Because, in truth, reality doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. Thought as a quantum force. Every thought you think is not just a passing moment in your mind, it's a vibration, a wave of energy that extends far beyond your brain. Quantum physics teaches us that everything in the universe, no matter how solid it seems, is made of vibrating energy fields. Your thoughts are part of this same field. When you think, you send out a frequency into the quantum sea of possibilities. Those frequencies interact with other energies and begin to shape the direction of your life in ways you can't always see, but can definitely feel. Imagine your thoughts as ripples spreading across the surface of a vast ocean. Every word, every feeling, every mental image sends out waves that touch the energy around you. When those waves are filled with fear, doubt, or anger, they disturb the calmness of your inner ocean, attracting more of the same turbulence from the world. But when your thoughts carry peace, confidence, and clarity, the waves you send out harmonize with the higher vibrations of reality. The universe begins to respond in alignment with your inner state. This is why two people can live through the exact same situation but experience it completely differently. One sees defeat, the other sees opportunity. One focuses on loss, the other focuses on what can be learned. The event doesn't define them, their thought patterns do. In the quantum sense, each person collapses a different version of reality through their mental focus. Life, therefore, is not what happens to you, it's what you continue to observe and believe. Your mind is constantly broadcasting signals to the field of potential. Thoughts of gratitude, self-belief, and love emit frequencies that attract circumstances of harmony and growth. Thoughts of fear and self-doubt emit lower frequencies that draw more confusion, obstacles, and emotional heaviness. The universe does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your vibration. You can't fake energy. You either align with a frequency of abundance or you don't. This is why it's essential to think straight, not in the narrow sense of avoiding mistakes, but in the deeper sense of aligning your thoughts with truth and clarity. When your mind is scattered, emotional, or filled with conflicting intentions, it sends out mixed signals to the universe. You create interference patterns in your own field, just like noise distorts a radio signal. But when you calm your thoughts, focus on what you truly desire, and remove internal contradictions, your mental broadcast becomes powerful and clear. The quantum field begins to organize itself around that intention. Think of it like tuning a frequency on a radio. If you want to hear the song of abundance, you can't stay tuned to the station of lack. If you want peace, you can't dwell on chaos. You must align your mind with the vibration of what you wish to experience. Your thoughts are not powerless, they are the command center of your personal reality. Every time you think deliberately, you are bending the quantum waves into shape. So train yourself to think consciously. Replace fear with curiosity, anger with understanding, and doubt with trust. You are the scientist and the experiment, the creator and the creation. The universe listens, not to your words, but to the frequency behind them. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction, you stop fighting against life and begin flowing with the creative force that designed it. In that moment, thought is no longer just an idea. It becomes a quantum force that can move mountains. 3. Your mind is the laboratory. Imagine for a moment that your mind is not just a space for thinking, it's a living laboratory where every belief, every emotion, and every idea acts as an experiment that shapes the outcome of your life. In this mental lab, your thoughts are the tools, your emotions are the energy, and your focus is the microscope through which you bring certain realities into view. Just as a scientist carefully controls conditions in a lab to produce a desired result, you must learn to manage your mental environment with precision, discipline, and awareness. In the physical world, a laboratory transforms invisible theories into tangible results. In the same way, your mind transforms invisible thoughts into visible experiences. The way you think about yourself, others, and the world acts like a formula. When you constantly mix thoughts of fear, doubt, and insecurity, the experiment of your life produces chaos and confusion. But when your mental ingredients consist of clarity, confidence, gratitude, and faith, the reactions change. You begin to produce results that match higher patterns of order and peace. Think of your beliefs as the chemicals you pour into your experiment. Some beliefs are toxic, they corrode your inner peace and poison your potential. Thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," "nothing ever works out for me," or "I can't change," create destructive reactions in your mental lab. Over time, these beliefs crystallize into habits and emotions that solidify into your outer reality. On the other hand, beliefs like, "I'm growing every day," "everything that happens is guiding me," or "I am capable of handling what comes," create chemical reactions of empowerment and expansion. They shift your frequency and rewrite the outcome of your reality experiment. Every day, you run countless small experiments in this inner lab: how you respond to someone's comment, how you interpret a failure, how you see your future. If your reactions are filled with negativity or fear, you reinforce a reality built on limitation. But if you observe your reactions consciously, you can rewrite them. You can stop old mental experiments that no longer serve you and start new ones based on understanding, patience, and trust. This is the true power of the conscious mind. It has the ability to redesign its own experiment. Scientists know that observation itself can alter the results of an experiment. The same is true for your inner world. The moment you become aware of your thought patterns, you start changing them. Awareness acts like a light in the dark laboratory. It reveals what's really happening behind the scenes. Once you see which beliefs are creating negative outcomes, you can choose differently. This is not spiritual fluff, it's practical quantum psychology. Your mind doesn't simply receive experiences, it manufactures them through the constant interaction between thought and observation. So, train your mental lab the way a true scientist trains their instruments. Keep your thoughts clean, your emotions balanced, and your focus sharp. When you feel chaos, don't panic. An experiment is simply revealing a result. Adjust your inner formula. Ask yourself, what am I observing? What energy am I giving this situation? The moment you shift your inner focus, the reaction begins to change. If you treat your mind as a sacred space of experimentation, you stop being a victim of random outcomes and start becoming the deliberate creator of your destiny. You learn that life doesn't happen by chance, it happens by design. Every belief you hold, every emotion you nurture, every thought you repeat, they all become part of the experiment that determines your reality. So, be the scientist of your soul. Test your beliefs, study your emotions, observe your thoughts without judgment. In doing so, you'll realize that the mind is not a prison. It's a laboratory filled with infinite possibilities. The experiments never end, but with every observation, you grow closer to discovering one of life's deepest truths, that the formula for reality begins and ends within you. 4. The universe mirrors your awareness. The universe is not a distant, cold mechanism made of stars and void. It is a living mirror that reflects the quality of your consciousness. Everything around you, from the people you meet to the events that unfold, acts as a reflection of what is happening within. This is not just poetic language. It is one of the most profound truths that bridges spirituality and quantum science. The universe is responsive, not reactive. It does not punish or reward you. It mirrors your dominant vibration, the energy of your awareness. Think of it like standing in front of a mirror. If you frown, the reflection frowns back. If you smile, the reflection smiles. You don't blame the mirror for what you see. You understand that it's simply showing you what you project. In the same way, life constantly shows you what your inner state looks like. When your mind is filled with fear, scarcity, or resentment, you see a world that seems cold, unfriendly, and full of obstacles. When your heart carries gratitude, compassion, and confidence, the same world suddenly feels more open, abundant, and supportive. Nothing external really changed your awareness, did? Quantum physics gives us a glimpse of how this works. The observer effect suggests that what we focus on becomes more defined and real. Energy responds to attention, and reality arranges itself around consciousness. This means your awareness functions as a kind of filter through which the universe takes shape. You don't attract what you merely want. You attract what you consistently are aware of. If your mind is dominated by anxiety, you unconsciously select and strengthen experiences that match that energy. But if your awareness is grounded in peace and trust, you begin to attract situations that mirror stability, support, and synchronicity. This is why awareness is more powerful than desire. Many people wish for success, love, or peace, yet remain unaware of the thoughts that contradict those wishes. They say they want abundance but constantly think about lack. They pray for healing but keep revisiting their pain. The universe reads energy, not words. If your awareness and your emotion are not in harmony with what you claim to want, the mirror cannot reflect it. You must become the vibration of what you seek before you can see it reflected back. When you start observing your awareness consciously, you begin to notice patterns. You'll see how certain thoughts attract specific moods and how those moods attract certain experiences. This is not coincidence, it's the feedback loop of reality responding to your internal state. Every moment becomes a conversation between you and the universe. You speak through your awareness. The universe replies through circumstances. If you don't like the reply, change the tone of your inner voice. It's easy to blame the world for being unfair or harsh, but a deeper truth is that the world responds to what you broadcast. If you carry unresolved anger, you'll meet people who trigger it. If you radiate kindness, you'll find it returning to you in unexpected ways. The universe is not trying to hurt or test you. It's trying to teach you to recognize yourself through the mirror of life. Every challenge, every delay, every blessing is feedback, showing you where your awareness is focused. You can use this law to your advantage. When you wake up each morning, center your awareness in gratitude before anything else. Notice how your energy shifts. Suddenly, people smile at you more, opportunities flow, small miracles happen. This isn't luck, it's resonance. You tuned your awareness to a higher frequency, and the universe responded accordingly. The mirror can only reflect what stands before it. So, if you find yourself surrounded by negativity, pause and look within. Ask yourself, what am I broadcasting? Awareness is not about denying pain or pretending to be positive. It's about understanding that your focus fuels your frequency. The more you observe consciously, the more control you gain over the reflection. When your inner world is peaceful, the outer world follows. When you feel abundant, you start to see abundance. When you forgive, life softens around you. The universe doesn't change, you do. And as you do, the reflection becomes clearer, brighter, and more aligned with your true nature. Because the secret has always been this: the universe isn't something outside of you, it's the grand mirror of your awareness, endlessly reflecting who you choose to be. 5. Detachment is quantum mastery. In the quantum world, the act of observing changes reality, but only when the observer remains neutral. If a scientist tries to force an outcome or manipulates an experiment emotionally, the results become distorted. The same principle applies to life. When you cling too tightly to outcomes, people, or expectations, you interfere with the natural flow of reality. You collapse possibilities into chaos because your energy becomes tangled with fear and control. True power comes not from holding on, but from letting go with awareness. Detachment does not mean indifference or apathy. It means trust. It means understanding that everything in the universe unfolds with perfect timing, and your role is not to control the process, but to align with it. When you are detached, you no longer vibrate at the frequency of desperation or impatience. Instead, you move into the calm frequency of creation itself. You become like a still lake, clear, reflective, and undisturbed. In that stillness, the right outcomes can emerge without resistance. Imagine trying to grab water with your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. But if you cup your hands gently, the water stays. That's what detachment feels like. When you grip life with fear, you block the flow. When you allow it to move naturally, you create space for miracles. In quantum physics, this parallels the concept of wave collapse. When we overmeasure, overanalyze, or overthink, we limit infinite possibilities into one narrow path. But when we observe with calm awareness, infinite outcomes remain available to us. In daily life, attachment shows up as overthinking, anxiety, and the constant need to control how things happen. You might say, "I'll be happy only when I achieve this," or "I'll be at peace when that person changes." This mindset traps you in resistance. It disconnects you from the creative energy of the present moment, the very field where transformation happens. Detachment, on the other hand, anchors you in the now. You stop demanding and start allowing. You stop chasing and start attracting. Consider how nature operates. The sun doesn't force its light, it simply shines. The river doesn't demand direction, it flows. The tree doesn't beg for fruit, it grows patiently and lets nature do the rest. In the same way, when you release control and surrender to the process, you synchronize with the universe's rhythm. You move from resistance to resonance, from anxiety to flow, from chaos to clarity. This doesn't mean you give up your goals, it means you give up your tension. You still act, you still plan, but without emotional attachment to how things unfold. You trust the unseen forces at play. Detachment is not laziness, it is mastery. It is knowing that when you do your best and release the rest, you open the door for the universe to handle the details in ways you could never predict. When you let go, you create quantum space room for new realities to form. When you obsess, you shrink that space and trap yourself in repetitive patterns. That's why things you chase often run away, but things you release often come back stronger. The universe responds to energetic freedom, not emotional tension. Try practicing detachment in small ways. If a plan doesn't go as expected, pause and breathe instead of reacting. If someone's words hurt you, observe the emotion instead of defending it. If a delay happens, trust that the timing is serving you in unseen ways. Each time you let go, you strengthen your alignment with the higher intelligence that governs the cosmos. Over time, you begin to notice a shift. Life feels lighter, outcomes unfold smoother. You stop drowning in uncertainty and start surfing the wave of change. This is quantum mastery, moving with the current of energy, not against it. Detachment gives you clarity because it removes emotional noise. You see things as they are, not as you fear them to be. In that still awareness, wisdom arises. You realize that control is an illusion, flow is real. And when you move with flow, life becomes effortless. Remember this. Letting go doesn't mean losing, it means making space for something better to enter. Just as quantum particles rearrange themselves when no one interferes, your life rearranges beautifully when you stop forcing and start trusting. So, release the need to know every detail. Observe, trust, flow, because in stillness, the universe finally has room to work its magic. 6. Consciousness is the real reality. For centuries, humanity believed that the universe was built from solid matter, tiny particles that formed everything we see. But modern physics has shattered that illusion. Matter, when examined closely, dissolves into patterns of energy, frequency, and vibration. At the deepest level, there are no separate objects, only waves interacting within a boundless field of potential. And at the heart of this field lies something even more mysterious: consciousness. It is not an outcome of the universe, it is the foundation upon which the universe exists. Consciousness is the unseen fabric connecting all things. It is the silent awareness behind every experience, the listener of every sound, the witness of every thought, the observer of every movement in the cosmos. Science has begun to realize that the universe doesn't exist independently of this awareness. Instead, it seems that awareness gives rise to everything we call real. Without a conscious observer, the universe remains a cloud of possibilities. It is consciousness that brings the world into being. Think about this. Your brain doesn't create consciousness, it receives and interprets it. The mind is like a radio, tuning into frequencies of awareness that already exist. When you dream, imagine, or remember, you are navigating inner dimensions of consciousness just as real as the physical world. Every idea, invention, and emotion arises from this infinite field of awareness that transcends space and time. Consciousness is the canvas on which the universe paints its masterpiece. This means that reality isn't happening out there. It's happening through you. What you see, hear, and touch are reflections appearing in the vast field of awareness you call I. When you close your eyes, but the world doesn't disappear, it simply returns to the field of pure potential, waiting to be observed again. You are not a small being living inside a universe. You are the universe experiencing itself through the lens of a human mind. The ancient mystics and modern physicists agree on this truth in different languages. Consciousness is not inside the body is inside consciousness. When you understand this, everything changes. Fear begins to lose its grip because you realize you are more than your thoughts or your circumstances. You are the awareness that notices them. Pain, anger, and anxiety are waves moving through the ocean of your consciousness. They come and go, but the ocean remains untouched. Just as the sky is never harmed by the storms passing through it, your true self, the conscious witness, is never damaged by the experiences that move through your life. The more you live from this understanding, the freer you become. Instead of identifying with every emotion, you begin to watch them with compassion. Instead of reacting blindly, you act from awareness. Instead of fearing the unknown, you trust it because you realize that everything arises within the same conscious field that you are part of. You stop searching for peace outside and start discovering it within. In practical terms, this means shifting your perspective from "I am the thinker" to "I am the awareness observing thought," from "I am my problems" to "I am the space in which problems appear and dissolve." When you make this shift, you detach from illusion and awaken to the deeper reality. Consciousness is not something you can lose, because it's what you are. Every sound you hear, every person you meet, every idea you have, all of it unfolds inside this infinite field of being. Quantum physics points toward the same mystery. It shows us that particles behave differently when observed, implying that awareness itself participates in the creation of the physical world. In other words, consciousness doesn't just witness reality, it creates it. Your awareness is the light that reveals existence, and without that light, nothing could ever be known. This is why every spiritual tradition emphasizes awakening. To awaken means to remember who you truly are, not a separate self, struggling in a chaotic world, but the conscious energy from which all things arise. You are not the wave. You are the ocean, experiencing itself as a wave for a moment in time. When this truth becomes clear, suffering begins to dissolve because you stop resisting what is. You realize that everything in existence, from galaxies to grass, is consciousness expressing itself in different forms. The secret to peace lies in remembering this. You are not inside the universe is inside you. Consciousness is not a byproduct of life, it is life. When you know yourself as this awareness, you no longer chase after reality, you become one with it. And in that union, everything falls into harmony. You no longer need to bend reality, because you finally realize you are reality itself. 7. The practical observer. Understanding that your thoughts shape reality, that your awareness mirrors the universe, and that consciousness itself is the fabric of existence, is profound, but without practice, it remains only philosophy. To live as a conscious observer means to apply this knowledge moment by moment in the midst of daily life, where chaos, uncertainty, and emotion constantly pull you off balance. The true mastery lies in turning awareness into action, in making observation a living habit rather than an abstract concept. The first practice is presence. You can't observe what you aren't present for. Most people live trapped inside their heads, replaying the past or worrying about the future while life unfolds quietly in the present moment. But the present is where quantum creation happens. Every choice, every shift, every manifestation occurs now. To live as the observer, begin by anchoring yourself in awareness of this moment. Notice your breathing. Feel the texture of your surroundings. Listen to the sounds around you without labeling them. Awareness deepens each time you stop judging and simply see. The second practice is neutral observation. When a strong emotion arises, anger, fear, sadness, don't rush to fix or fight it. Watch it. Observe how it moves through your body. Notice the thoughts that try to define it. By observing instead of reacting, you stop feeding the emotion's energy. Just as a quantum experiment changes when observed, your emotions begin to dissolve when met with pure awareness. Observation transforms chaos into clarity. The third practice is intentional focus. The mind is like a lens. You can either use it consciously or let it wander aimlessly. Every day, take time to choose what you want to focus on. It could be gratitude, growth, healing, or peace. When you intentionally direct your awareness toward higher states of thought, you collapse realities that align with them. What you repeatedly focus on becomes your frequency, and what matches your frequency is what you begin to live. The fourth practice is detachment from outcome. Once you set an intention, let it go. Trust that the universe is rearranging itself to match your vibration. Do not keep checking, doubting, or worrying about when it will happen. Detachment keeps your energy clean and your channel open. When you surrender control, you move from forcing reality to flowing with it. The observer doesn't interfere, they align and allow. The fifth practice is self-inquiry. Become curious about your inner patterns. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? What belief is creating this reaction? Self-observation exposes the unconscious programs that shape your external world. The moment you see a limiting belief clearly, it begins to lose its power. Awareness dissolves illusion the way sunlight dissolves fog. This is how transformation begins, not by fighting darkness, but by bringing light to it. The sixth practice is energy hygiene. Just as you clean your body daily, cleanse your energy through stillness, nature, or silence. Spend moments each day in quiet observation of your breath or heartbeat. This resets your frequency and removes mental noise. Remember, the clearer your inner state, the more accurate your outer reflection. You cannot experience peace in a world that reflects your inner chaos. So, make inner stillness your first priority. The seventh practice is gratitude as awareness. Gratitude is not just saying thank you, it's the recognition of the miracle in every moment. When you observe life with appreciation, your energy expands. You tune into abundance instead of lack. The universe responds by amplifying that signal. Gratitude is the simplest and most powerful way to align consciousness with creation. It keeps you grounded in presence and open to flow. The eighth practice is witness consciousness. Try to see yourself not only as a participant in life, but as an observer of the entire play. Watch your thoughts come and go like clouds. Watch how your identity shifts depending on circumstances. The deeper you observe, the more you realize you are not the changing scenes, you are the awareness watching them unfold. From this space, peace becomes natural, because nothing that happens can disturb what you truly are. And finally, the ninth practice is faith in the unseen. You must trust that unseen forces are at work in your favor. The same consciousness that keeps stars burning and galaxies spinning also guides your life. When things seem uncertain, hold faith, not blind belief, but quiet, knowing that energy follows awareness. Every prayer, every intention, every act of kindness ripples through the quantum field. You may not always see immediate results, but reality is already shifting beneath the surface. To live as the practical observer is to walk through life awake. You no longer chase, force, or fear. You observe, align, and act from clarity. You begin to notice synchronicities, sudden solutions, and effortless flows that replace struggle. Life becomes less of a battle and more of a dance between your consciousness and the universe's intelligence. So start small. The next time something bothers you, pause, breathe, observe your reaction. That moment of awareness, small as it seems, is you reclaiming your creative power. Over time, these moments expand until awareness becomes your natural state. You stop being the storm and become the sky itself, vast, open, unshaken. That is the essence of quantum mastery. To live as the conscious observer, to see through the illusions of fear and control, and to understand that reality is not something you chase, it's something you tune into. When you think straight, observe clearly, and act consciously, the universe bends gracefully around your awareness, because, in truth, it always has. You just had to wake up enough to see it. At the heart of the universe, beneath every particle, behind every breath, and within every thought, you exist not as a separate being lost in chaos, but as the very consciousness shaping it all. The observer effect isn't just a theory of physics, it's a reminder of your divine participation in reality. You are not a victim of circumstances, you are a creator of frequencies. Every emotion you feel, every idea you hold, every belief you repeat, sends ripples into the quantum fabric of existence. The world you experience is not built from matter, it is built from meaning, shaped by the awareness that gives it life. When you begin to truly understand this, something profound happens. You stop fighting life and start flowing with it. You stop chasing outcomes and begin aligning with energy. You realize that the most powerful thing you can ever do is to observe with clarity, to think with intention, and to act from stillness. The world outside begins to rearrange itself, not because you forced it, but because you finally learned to master your inner universe. Reality bends, not under pressure, but under presence. The more conscious you become of your thoughts, emotions, and attention, the more precise your creation becomes. What once felt random starts to make sense. The people, events, and opportunities that enter your life start to match your vibration. You begin to see life as a living mirror, reflecting the evolution of your awareness back to you in every moment. There will still be challenges, of course, but even pain transforms when you observe it with understanding. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but instead, "What is this showing me?" You stop seeing yourself as a small point inside a vast universe and begin to feel that the universe itself lives within you. That shift, from separation to unity, is the essence of awakening. So remember, the power you seek is not out there in stars or equations. It is here, in your consciousness, waiting for you to awaken to it. Every moment is an invitation to observe more clearly, to think more truthfully, and to live more consciously. The universe listens not to your words, but to the energy of your awareness. Think straight, observe deeply, detach gently, and most of all, trust the process. Because in the grand design of existence, the observer and the observed are one and the same. You are the dreamer and the dream, the thinker and the thought, the universe becoming aware of itself through you. And when you finally realize that when you no longer chase control, but embody clarity, reality no longer feels like something to bend. It becomes something to dance with. And in that eternal dance between mind and matter, between consciousness and creation, you discover the most powerful truth of all. You were never just observing reality. You were shaping it all along.